How's it going?
Good. How was your day today?
Good, good. It was finished out pretty, one of those that like kind of drags along unexpectedly.
Yep.
How was yours?
Good. Got a lot of patience and paperwork today, but it
Oh,
wasn't
paperwork.
too overwhelmingly crazy, so that was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's going
Oh,
to be pretty busy for me, though.
why is that?
Just very booked up tomorrow. That's how
Anything good?
dentistry is.
That's how it goes. You got ups and downs. I've been hearing a lot of people a little bit lighter during November, but so you got a big day tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow's my late night, and schedule is full.
That's always exciting. What's late for you? How late are we looking?
Uh, 8 o'clock.
Oh, wow, that is quite late.
That's when I leave.
When you leave, okay. When do you stop seeing patients?
It depends upon the procedure, but probably no later than 7:30 would be the last patient.
7:30. Okay, 7:30, and then, yeah, finish it up the office, the notes and stuff.
I used to do 2 nights till 12 to 9 when I first started out, but that got old really fast.
12 to 9. What's tomorrow? 11 to 7 or
11 to 8.
it okay. Okay, yeah. When you were you seeing patients until 9 when you were doing 12 to 9 or
Yeah, sure.
oh
Try
man.
to accommodate the people that work in the city or, can't get here during the day.
Yeah, yeah. What are your normal hours other days? What other days are you working in the week?
I work 9 to 6 most other days except Saturday 8 to 12. But
Okay.
a couple of years ago, I started taking Saturdays off in from May to August and kind of thinking about making that a permanent thing.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Wow.
I might
So,
add back some later hours during the week, but we'll see how it
mm,
goes.
yeah, so just a quick formal introduction. Obviously, Charles Handelman, Dr. Charles Handelman
Hmm.
in Deer Park now,
Yes.
general dentistry, but you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot of other things as well.
Yeah, I try to, I like the variety of general dentistry. That's one of the reasons I chose not to specialize.
So you've been changing your hours a long way. Right now I'm actually curious. What days did you start when you first started out? And then what were those hours like? You said way back when you were 12 to 9?
I
Was that
still
in the
work
beginning?
pretty similar hours, but like I said, during the week we would have two late nights till 9 o'clock.
Two.
Yeah,
Man.
but
Oh
that
man.
gets to be a lot after a while. You start to lose steam after a certain hour,
Right,
even
right,
when
right.
you're a younger dentist. I think.
For sure. Yeah, I mean it certainly does. Did you always work Saturdays?
Yes, always work Saturdays. Yeah, but I've been doing this now for 30 years, so I have a following, and hopefully they'll be willing to see me during the week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you think you'll always do Saturdays or is that just
Always did Saturdays. For the first 10 years of practice, I worked with my father-in-law, and at that time he was in his 50s and he wanted to stop working Saturdays, so I was the new kid on the block and I took over.
so you got stuck with the Saturdays?
Yeah, I think that's the normal evolution of things. When there's
Yeah.
an older dentist and a younger dentist, don't you think?
I think so. I think so generally. Yep. Yeah. So I guess if that was your father-in-law, you met your wife before or during dental school, or
We met in college, actually. And
where'd you go to college?
I sort of took an unusual career path into dentistry,
Tell me this.
sort of a non-traditional path. I was pre-law throughout college and graduated, worked as a paralegal for a year, and then started
Wow.
law school and rapidly decided after my work experience and law school experience that although I liked it from an academic standpoint, it was not for me. And at that time, the law school that I was going to was in Florida. So when I decided to bail on that career path, I was engaged at that time, but
Mm,
I didn't want to really get married until I had a definite, I knew that my career was going to be cemented. So at the time, trying to think what to do with my life. So my mother-in-law, she decided to suggest, dentistry. And the more I thought about it, it seemed like maybe it might be a good fit because I always like working with my hands. I was into woodworking and grew up in an environment where I was exposed to science. My dad was a chemist who went to law school and became a patent attorney. So I always had some exposure to science, but I never really took any of those classes in college.
yeah.
So I called some admissions boards of dental schools and found out what I would have to do to get admitted. And I had to go back to college actually for a year. And I loaded myself up with all the prerequisites with the intention of seeing if I liked handling that type of material and whether I could excel at it. And I did very well and then applied and got in, and I loved my dental school experience. I went to Boston University.
Very nice. Did you grow up in Florida really quick? Because you said you were an undergrad initially in Florida,
No, I
or was it
grew up
long?
in Rockland County, New York.
Oh, a little bit upstate, a little
Yeah,
Westchester area.
just northwest of the city.
Yeah, not too far at all. So
Yeah.
you went down, and then you went to Florida, and then you came back up to Boston for dental school. Where did you said you met your wife, and she was in undergrad in Florida?
No, we went to Ithaca College in upstate central New York.
Oh, Ithaca. Yeah, I used to play Ithaca in basketball in
Yeah.
undergrad.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good school for sports, Division 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
it was
right.
good.
So, I presumably your now father-in-law you had met way back when during undergrad, right? And then they kind of filtered you towards it. Is that why you made the switch? Because you were initially sounded like kind of tracing the direction of your dad a little bit, being a patent attorney,
Yeah,
and then
like I said, I decided law was not for me. I didn't really feel like I had the right temperament um for that type of work. So, I started on the dental school path, and I really liked it. I had a great experience in dental school. It was challenging, as I'm sure it is for most people,
yeah,
but I liked it. And then I came out, and at the time, doing a residency was an optional thing in New York State, but I did one anyway because I wanted to get some exposure to hospital-based dentistry and
yeah,
managing more medically complex patients. So
right,
did
right,
that
right.
for a year at the Northport VA, and we took call every few nights at the ER at Stony Brook, which is level 1.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of interesting things there.
I'm sure the level one trauma centers are just everything's got to go there, all the big things. So you're
Yeah,
going to see some wild things for
a lot of
sure.
motor vehicle accidents, drunk driving.
Yep, getting
Definitely
helicoptered
a new perspective on wearing your seatbelt.
for sure. Yeah, and the Northport VA that was 1 year, right?
Yes. Yeah, all of that was 1 year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I passed the Northport VA on my drive to my aunt and uncle's house in Centerport, and such a great experience to get a residency at the VA. Was it the same from your experience back then? Because when I was working in the VA in the city for a couple months at a time during my rotations, it was great because if a patient needed a treatment and they're a full service connected veteran, they would have full coverage for that. And now you get the experience you need because most times we find in dentistry is that the finances kind of shift us through towards what treatments the patient end up getting, which ends up being the more affordable options. But at the VA, sometimes the better option is not the most affordable option, or they can get that. Was that the same for you?
Yes. However, I'll point out that, to be 100% service connected for dental, the requirements for that were pretty stringent. You had
Mm,
to be a prisoner of war, a combat wounded veteran, or somebody with severe PTSD.
yes.
Everyone had that. I guess the only negative of doing a residency at the VA, and it may be different now, but you're primarily dealing with a very distinct group of patients. At the time that I was there, it was mostly older men. A lot
Yeah.
of Vietnam veterans, World War II veterans. There weren't really many veterans coming back from the Gulf War at that time,
Mm,
so you're not really seeing women, children, or a few, but predominantly older men.
yeah. 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 Yes. That's right. That's right. A lot of them with a lot of good bone though to put implants in, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they put tons of implants in.
But you got some great stories from them too. Some fascinating things.
Well, one funny story that stands out is my first day on call in the emergency room at the VA. The outgoing residents had told us that, you never get called for dental. It wasn't really active for dental cases. So I decided to take a road trip to a couple of hours away. The minute I get in the parking lot, my beeper goes off, and I had to get back in the car and go to the hospital. And a 50-something-year-old guy got into a argument with 70-something-year-old guy over a pack of cigarettes, and the younger gentleman clocked him in the chin, and because the patient was a dentalist, he broke his jaw in half. So,
Oh,
a complete fracture. And since there were no teeth, we had to do,
gotcha.
a surgical repair of the fracture.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
I got to scrub in on that case. It
Right.
was
That's a
kind of
great
interesting.
experience. And you did that at the VA, or was that transferred over to
No, it
Stony
was
Brook?
at the VA.
Wow.
So the attending
Who
let me drill one of the holes for the titanium plate, which was kind of cool.
was it broken in one spot, or was it two spots?
No, just one spot. in the bicuspid, lower bicuspid area.
Yep, right over on the one
Yeah,
side.
there was no way to do, fixation of the. He had no teeth. He had dentures. So,
So they went through the neck, right?
yep,
Went in
exactly.
affected. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's a fun little case. That's good. No, that's
yeah.
good to
It
see.
was, definitely
And
very
then
cool. Never seen anything like that at
right,
that point
right.
in my career.
Was that early on in residency, or was that later in that year?
No, that was fairly early on. Yeah.
By any chance, did the dentures break, and then you were able to make the dentures on that fracture, like as it healed? That would be a good experience
No,
too.
that
You
was
know.
my only involvement with that particular patient.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah. I
okay.
don't even actually remember whether he had dentures. I just remember for a fact that he was edentulous.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, the VA is such a great experience. That's great that you were able to do that in OR and go there, and they let you participate. They let you put a hole and screw in too. That's always fun.
Yeah, the attendings there were definitely great.
And so that was an oral surgeon doing that, or was it plastic surgery?
An oral surgeon, yeah.
Is that someone from the area Northport, or did they have which
It was
residency?
Dr. Casino.
It was Dr. Casino.
You know him?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Anthony Casino. Yeah, from Huntington.
yeah.
Oh man, he
He,
was one of our.
I think he's
Yeah,
retired now, but yeah.
he did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was. Yeah, he's got another. He's got a good story, but yeah, he was one of the attendings for oral surgery at Stony Brook while I was there in dental school. He's all over the place. He's very well known.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the
amazing.
other oral surgeon that was there was Dr. Assail. I don't know
Sal.
if he,
Oh,
at one time, he was partners with Dr. Casino, but I think they went their separate ways at some point.
I see. Interesting. Okay, because I know Dr. Casino became partners with Dr. Schneider.
Yes, yeah. And I think they
Yeah.
had an office in the Stony Brook area and
Yep.
the Huntington office.
That's right. That's right. Is that so funny? It's a small world because we met. This is I think middle of the way through September. We met at that event at the BioHorizons implant placement event,
Mm-hmm.
and so now we're getting to chat about other things we didn't get to talk about that night. And who knows? Who would have known? Dr. Casino actually worked with him in a case at the VA, so he was covering that hospital. I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
So one question I wanted to ask you: you were talking about the temperament between becoming a lawyer through law school and then also from dentistry, right? Because there's a certain temperament you need to have to be treating patients all day. It's their teeth, it's their smile, it's how they carry themselves, their confidence. What do you think the difference? Would you have a like what's your take on the difference in temperament between becoming a lawyer and a dentist?
I just think, you have to be a fairly aggressive person in business in,
Hmm.
most law firms. It's the eat what you kill mentality.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cutthroat. Now, I don't know
Very.
if that's true of all firms, but that was my observation.
Hmm. Did you find that in dental school at all too at BU or no?
No, not at all. No, we all pretty much helped each other, and
Yeah.
yeah, I loved my friends from dental school.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I had a different experience. I was going to say it sounds like the law school and my dental school, and I hear a lot about NYU dental school. A couple of the dental schools I hear about, there's a lot of that cutthroat mentality. Do you think it would be changing over time? Does it change in location of the United States? I'm just
I
trying
don't
to
know.
think for listeners.
My niece actually just started dental school down south, and
Where? What school?
in Georgia. There's only one dental school in Georgia.
Yep,
Dental
Dental College,
College
Georgia.
of
Yep,
Augusta, I think it's
Augusta.
called.
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, great school. Good. She's liking
She's
it.
in her first semester. But yeah, she's finding it challenging, but she really likes it.
Of course. Did you get her into that pathway? Was that thanks to you?
Well, I don't know if it was necessarily due to me, but she has flown up here. She was from the Atlanta area, so she's flown
Mm,
up here and shadowed me in the summers sometimes. And my father-in-law, I'm sure, was a huge influence
yeah.
on her career path.
Well, that's exciting, and
Yeah.
congratulations to her.
So, I have a running group text with her, my daughter, and my daughter's big in her sorority has been accepted to dental school. So I send them interesting cases, photographs and stuff.
That's exciting. That's
Yeah.
great. Oh, I bet they love that.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Do you have
I
a
love
recent
showing
one?
them stuff.
Oh, and I bet they love. That's great. That's great for them. And as they're learning through undergrad and then starting into dental school, I think that's so tremendous for the interviews for them as well. To know the lingo a little bit, to having shadowed a dentist before, maybe you guys can chat about the case a little bit if they ask you questions. That's if they end up listening to this podcast, that is going to be huge for them just to know a little bit of the lingo.
Yeah.
Because for the interview, you got to be able to talk the same language.
Well, and I think it's really interesting for, somebody that's going to be starting dental school or early on in their dental career to see the kinds of things that we experience in private practice. Because,
For sure.
as you know, in dental school, it's more textbook cases and
Yeah.
stuff, at least in the beginning.
Right, generally, because then the more complex things they get upgraded to
Hmm.
specialty practices areas, and then to know what to do for each situation.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the treatment.
Constantly thinking outside the box.
That's right. That's right. That's always big.
Sure, it's the same in oral surgery at times.
All the time, all the time. I had one of those humbling cases today, actually. So it's you have a long day coming up tomorrow. I had a kind of a longer day today.
Yeah. But it's good, as you go on in your career, I think you encounter unusual situations. And, each time you have to deal with something like that, you have a new tool to put in your toolbox, right?
Always, yeah, yeah. It's all about acquiring more tools, right? Sometimes
Mhm.
literally instruments, but then sometimes like a new toolbox. Keeping the ideas fresh and back in the mind.
And that reduces the stress level, when you've been doing it for a while, because you know what you need to do.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, having it in the wheelhouse. Whenever something goes wrong, maybe something takes a different direction in a case. That happens all the time, as you know. It's knowing what to do when that wrong turn goes.
Hmm.
Right? You want to get it back on the road.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell me, what about your wife? Is she in dentistry at all, or is that?
No, no, I think it's better to, keep your wife separate from the office.
I agree. My fiance's in marketing, so I don't
Mm.
know if that.
Well, I'm sure, maybe at some point she'll help you market yourself. But,
Yeah, that is true. That would be
there's always
helpful.
a need for that in, dentistry if you're running a business.
Did you find that it was helpful going through dental school and then residency when you had to go, you were on call, being that your wife, her father was a dentist, right?
Hmm.
Do you think that that helped her knowing what you were going to go through, being that her father went through all of it and taught her and told her and stuff, and she had to see it firsthand in a sense, right? The life of living with a dentist.
Yeah, I mean, sure that, and it was great having him as a resource,
Hmm.
as a dental student.
Did you always know you were going to end up on Long Island, being from Rockland County, or?
No, I mean, I kind of came out here because I did my residency here. My wife's from the Dix Hills area. So, the plan was for me to come into the practice and, get up to speed and eventually
Yeah,
take over, which is what happened.
that's a great route. That's an excellent pathway.
Yeah, we worked for 10 years together. And then, when he was ready to retire, I purchased the practice. And, that was a number of years ago already. Can't believe how fast time goes.
What advice would you? So I'm just starting out, right? So what advice would you say to any dentist just starting out these first couple years, looking back in hindsight?
Well, certainly learning the business of dentistry is important because you don't really get a lot of exposure to that in dental school. There are a lot of
Yeah.
nuances dealing with insurance companies, and, that's my greatest source of frustration, though,
Oh my goodness,
dealing
the
with these
insurance companies,
companies.
right? Man, are they bad? They
They're,
are a nightmare. And then someone was just telling me, I mean, the insurance that we get, right, working at a plate, all the fees are going up for these insurances. I guess that's medical insurance, just overall. Everything's going up this year. They're saying big time, but what we get back from it isn't changing.
you mean the fees for medical insurance?
Someone was just telling me, one of the partners in the associates in the practice, he was saying that the medical insurance we get as associates, he's saying that the fees are going up, so they're switching whatever we get back from that, the
You mean the
actual care.
co-payments and stuff?
I think he was saying just the overall plans. I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
I mean, health insurance, that's a whole nother beast.
Whole
But
nother ballgame.
it's never going down your costs, your
Yeah.
co-payments and deductibles.
And so why I'm going that direction, not to open that can of worms, but to stay in our lane here is, the reimbursement has been going down for a lot of these insurances that you've seen, right?
Yeah, I've actually in the last few years hired a company to help with negotiating fee schedules. I've had some limited success with that.
But some success nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely some success, sure. And they
Good.
give good advice. Sometimes you can change the way you participate with a company. You can be not necessarily directly contracted with a particular company, but see them through a third company that, maybe has a better fee schedule.
Mm.
They call that optimizing your participation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I know nothing about this. This sounds really interesting.
Yeah. For example, a number of years ago, I participated with Emeritus,
Mm.
but by dropping my participation with them, it defaulted to a different fee schedule through Connection Dental, which is pretty good.
Mm.
The reimbursements. And recently, Emeritus negotiated a sharing arrangement with Cigna, whose fees are not so good, but I was able to opt out of that, so it's going to still stay on my connection. So that's a good example of optimizing.
That's a great example. That does sound like it's very helpful.
But honestly, I would never know to really do that on my own. That's why having a company like that is helpful.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I see what you're saying there. I would have known the third party, kind of
Yeah,
a roundabout way. That
yeah,
sounds really helpful.
yeah, yeah. Because there are relationships between all these companies.
What other thing has been a hardship? Because the insurance company, I mean, this has just been. I mean, so for listeners that don't know this, most insurances are still giving the same reimbursement from the '70s. Some of them a little bit better, the '90s and 2000s. But generally, like one example is Medicaid B plans have decreased 33% since 2001. The reimbursement, what people pay for insurance goes up and up and up, but the reimbursement back to providers delivering the care has gone up marginally or even decreased over time, such as Medicare B plans.
Yeah, Medicare, Medicaid, I used to participate in some of those plans, and that was, there were procedures where it would cost me money to see the patient.
Yeah.
So at
Yeah.
some point I said, the hell with this, and I discontinued my participation with that. Plus, so
Isn't that crazy?
bureaucratic dealing
That
with
too.
that.
It changed the codes on you. Like, no, this is going to be, that's not a full bony impact. What do you mean? It is.
Yeah, we're not allowed to upcode, but they're allowed to downcode
Yes. So it's
and bundle
completely swayed.
procedures.
Yeah. All the leverage is in their hands, which is super frustrating.
Yeah.
Like you said. But what are some of the positive things? What are some of the bright things you've been seeing these days in dentistry? What's some of the, so here's a question I actually really want to know from your standpoint, especially in the Long Island area. I'm born and raised here. I'm from Smithtown, as you know, we spoke about that. But what are some of the bright directions of dentistry that you're seeing going? Because the insurance, I'm only seeing that being a frustrating wall for the years to come. I don't see that wall coming down anytime soon.
Yeah, it's a constant battle, but there are a lot of exciting things I think happening in dentistry. I'm particularly excited about the inroads that digital dentistry has made. I purchased a scanner in 2017. Never looked back. A lot of technologies come and go in dentistry for various reasons, but I recognize that the digital world is here to stay. So I wanted to be ahead of the curve, and that's why I invested. It wasn't cheap, but I invested in a scanner, and I use it quite a bit. In fact, I probably really don't even use it to its fullest capabilities. Now as printing is getting better, something I'm considering, milling.
I actually know a dentist in here in Smithtown. If you wanted ideas on the milling process, connecting the scanner to the mill, I know he does everything in his. He's got basically a full lab in his office.
Yeah. The question is, do you have the time to sit down and fiddle with that stuff, or can you delegate that to an assistant?
Yeah.
I think those are things to consider, I guess, if you're going to go down that road.
Yeah, that would probably be a good delegation task so that you could continue seeing patients while they kind of do that in the background.
Yeah, for me, as far as milling goes, yes, of course it would save money on the lab side of things, but you still have to pay for the mill.
Mm-hmm.
And then, do I have time to really sit down and design and wait for crowns to mill? I don't know. Sometimes, the labs can produce it quicker and more predictably.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a good point. If there was a way to do it in the office where it's just automatically faster, maybe same day, or I could see that being a big benefit. If it's all an if.
But I think it's getting there. There's a lot of AI now that helps you design stuff. So might be something to consider.
Have you tried it all?
No, I've never done milling. I strictly scan and send my cases to the lab.
Yeah. And so you got your scanner in 2017. I think the dental school at Stony Brook got it in like 2019. I could be off. Could have been 18, 19. So you were very early on it, at least compared to Stony Brook Dental School.
Yeah.
And then you just hit the road running.
Yeah. I'm considering maybe getting another one at some point, trading up.
Getting a little. Oh, so you have the same model for the last 7-8 years.
Yeah, I have a Trios scanner, 3-shape.
Yeah.
But they have a new scanner out that they claim has 110% greater resolution than the earlier generation ones, which sounds kind of interesting.
It's pretty good. That's
the
hard to
question
argue
is,
with.
can mills and printers utilize that increased resolution? I don't know. That's something I have to look into.
Yeah, that would be a lot more data.
Because there's a limitation to, the resolution on the printers and.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Have you
mill
found
can
that?
only mill to certain tolerances. So, I don't really know if that makes it, a more accurate restoration. Something I'd like to learn more about.
Yeah, if it does, it would totally be worth it. And what if they have like a package deal where you could get the mill itself in the office? That would be pretty interesting if they could do that. And then
Yeah.
they could show you how to hook it up, maybe use the AI, and then you could try and do the same day. If you could do the same day, the milling of the crowns and then putting it in. Well, we'll see how
Although,
it goes.
from a business standpoint, though, sometimes patients like the ability to be able to pay off their crown in a couple of visits rather than all up front,
Yeah.
which,
Do you
if
have?
you're doing
Yeah,
same day crowns, so the patient really should pay the whole thing that day. I
I
don't
see
know if
what you
that's
mean.
an issue, but I would tend to think that might be an issue for some people.
I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah. Because then the coming back is like, hey, by the way, there's like that $250. I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If a crown is just arbitrarily $1,000, sometimes it's easier for somebody to pay 500 and 500, rather
Mhm.
than everything up front.
Yeah, and if they don't have the crown, then they have a reason to come back. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
I mean, I don't know. I like to try to get paid, by the time the work is done.
Yeah, yeah, and that's appropriate, right? That's fair.
Yeah,
So,
unless the patient, does patient financing,
right, the
or if a
financing.
portion's coming from the insurance, of course I'll wait for that.
So, something I wanted to ask you is what's been some of your favorite procedures that you're doing these days?
Oh, I really like implant dentistry. I find that very rewarding.
Mm,
I'm happy doing the bread and butter stuff too.
yeah. I saw one of your patients. This is a couple going back a couple weeks, and I'm not gonna obviously I'm gonna keep the information out and whatnot. But yeah, it was an infection. I think it was like right maxilla or something, just to be general. Yeah, yeah. He was saying, and then I think you had referred him to another, like I think it was a periodontist in the area or something to get implants.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess you were restoring them
Yeah.
from there. Yeah. Do you who do you like to work with in the area? I'm curious. I'm curious because I'm always trying to learn.
For perio?
For just in general, do you have like any prosthodontists you work with? You work with a periodontist. Are there any endodontists that you like to work with in the area?
Yeah, I mean, endodontists, I send cases to three practices basically. I like
Hmm.
Premier Endo, which has a number of offices, Comac Endo. Tangredi Endo is pretty good too. They're in
What
Comac
is that?
also.
Oh, Comac, Comac.
Yeah.
Got it.
They took over the practice of Hill and Russo.
Helen Russo. Okay.
Yeah, they were probably a little before your time, but they were in the area for quite a while.
Russo sounds familiar. Yeah, I did know some Russos a couple years back.
Yeah.
Huh. And then, so do you refer to any other oral surgery practices? Just us, or?
Well, you guys don't take every single plan, so sometimes,
Yeah.
or geographically, if somebody's out east, I might
Mm.
refer to somebody closer to where they are, but I try to feed you guys as much as possible.
Oh, you do. You do.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I'm interested in working on cases with you because I have so much to learn. You know what I mean? And the best way to learn is through like a collaborated effort on cases. Yeah, that patient that you had sent over for the infection, I was curious to see how everything turned out. In the long run. But we could go through that another time. I would really like to learn from you.
Yeah, definitely. You'll have to, I don't remember exactly who you're talking about, but you could tell me off camera at some point.
Yeah, yeah. I'll have to look in the archives. I'm pretty sure I texted you about it. This is weeks ago. This might be a month and a
Okay,
half
I
ago.
don't really remember that case.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, but yeah. So what have been some of the things? Because you were mentioning the scanner, so I imagine that really increased some productivity and speed as far as in
Sure.
the office.
Yeah.
What are some other things that have been like exciting as far as getting things better? Because we were talking about step forwards in dentistry that's been helping. I'm curious if there's anything else.
I mean, I think that's the main thing that I've really utilized the most in my practice. I've toyed with the idea of getting a soft tissue laser for certain things.
Oh, wow. You think maybe some graphs, some
Oh, no,
geo?
not so much for that. More for, troughing around preps and things of that nature. Do you
Yeah,
use a laser at all?
I haven't used. I used it in dental school. I haven't used it since.
Feel like that would be good for an oral surgeon, maybe for frenectomies and
Oh yeah. I gotta ask Dr. Chafkin if he's got any lasers for the frenectomies. Yeah, because I have a frenectomy coming up in a couple weeks. Huh? That's a great idea.
I saw a video of somebody using a laser to do an exposure of a cuspid that was impacted.
There's so many uses for them. Yeah, the lasers look pretty good these days. I've also seen some complications from lasers. This guy, Serv Wahan in Washington, he was showing how how using a laser to do frenectomy, and the lingual frenectomy, it also causes, if you use it too long in a certain area, the soft tissue can fibrose, it can really scar up, and
Hmm.
that cause recession. And the patient, after just a handful of years, lost all their front lower teeth.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, that's really sad. But yeah, so yeah, there's these
Especially if it's a
technologies.
young patient.
Yeah, it was a young patient. That's so it's good to know these things, right? Have so many good things with the advancement of technology. Also to know what the risks are too.
Yeah,
you
and
know.
you can use I think you can use a laser on low power to, remediate aphthous ulcers and things of that nature.
Yeah, there's so many applications for it. You think you'll get a laser? That'd be pretty cool.
I don't know. I have to see if the budget permits. It's not at the top of my list, but one of the great things about dentistry is there are a lot of toys. So if
Yeah,
you like gadgets, dentistry is a great profession.
yeah, using the hands, working with patients, using
Yeah,
a lot of toys. It's always a lot of fun.
yeah. It takes a little self control to not go out there and buy all these things.
Do you actually? That's funny you mentioned that. Do you like watches? Do you wear watches at all?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really collect watches. Do you?
I like watches. I love the aesthetics of them
Uh
and the
huh.
and the functions of them. So speaking of toys, because I like to have watches with a lot of aesthetic and function. Function 75%, 25% aesthetic. But I didn't know if you were into them too.
I love watches, and I follow a couple of people on TikTok. Watch related stuff. But
Do you really?
yeah, I could send you the links if you're on that platform.
Send them
There's
over.
definitely
Yeah.
some good content for that.
So you're into watches?
Yeah, but a number of years ago, I had aspirations of getting a Breitling or a Rolex, but my wife told me she would kill me. So if I went out and spent money on that, so got to keep the peace.
Hey, maybe a gift. Holidays coming up. Maybe a gift down the pipeline. Do you have any an associate working for you?
I did, but after the pandemic, she decided to take a step back from dentistry, and just haven't replaced her yet. So, but
Oh
yeah,
wow, a step back from dentistry, huh?
yeah, her husband had a business, and you know, I guess she decided to work in the business.
Yeah. Hmm.
But yeah, I periodically toy with the idea of getting another associate. Certainly would improve my quality of life, but I don't know. We'll see.
I wonder what your wife would say to that one.
Yeah, no, not really looking to take time off just yet.
Yeah.
Still feel like I'm grinding it out.
I'm just thinking for listeners, if there's a dental student or a resident, got to be a resident on Long Island, listening to this, that'd be good because it's always nice to use podcasts and social media to make the connections in the network, especially for Long Island and dentistry.
Yeah, but always have my eyes and ears open.
Yeah.
I'd be receptive to talking to somebody about that, maybe.
Of course. So
Yeah,
hey, Dr. Handelman, thanks so much for coming on today. It was great to have another chat. I haven't seen you in a couple months.
yeah, definitely. And
Yeah, thanks for doing this.
yeah, hit me up and we'll talk about that other case.
Yeah. We'll have to chat about that. I'll have to find it in archives and send you a text. But yeah, I want to say thanks again. I know it could be awkward, a little bit different, coming on the podcast and just chatting. But this is going to be on the Long Island Dentist podcast that
Great.
we're getting going. So
Yeah,
thanks again for that.
yeah, good to see you.
You too. If you can do me a favor, just wait like 10 seconds. I'm going to hit end here, and you'll see a bar. It's going to show until it hits 100% uploaded. Otherwise, I'll have to send you texts and emails about
Yeah,
it.
no problem. Sounds good. All right, I'll
All
talk
right.
to you soon.
Yep. All right. Good night.
All right, good
Good night.
night.